Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Expert Matters. I'm Shruti Bora, alumni of ISBR Business School. And through this podcast, we bring you real career journeys, especially those that don't follow a straight or safe path. Today, we have with us Karthik Bhaskar, a business strategist with over 10 years of experience across SaaS, B2B, D2C, startups, and even large enterprises like Adobe and Yahoo. What makes his journey especially relevant for MBA students like you is the number of career leaps and calculated risk he has taken along the way. So, Karthik, thank you so much for taking our time for us. Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
Hey, hi Shruti. Thanks for having me here. Uh,
Perfect.
yeah, we
I
can
have a
get
lot of
started.
questions for you today. We're
Yeah,
definitely going to dig deep into your career, and we definitely want to, get as much information as we can from you. But before we, jump on to the questions, if you can give us a brief understanding of your journey since your education, that will be great to set a tone for all the questions we have.
sure. I mean, like you told, my journey was not an even journey right from my graduation. I did my first, I did computer applications, bachelor's computer application, and then I moved to my first career was in accounts payable, and later I jumped into digital marketing, and after that I jumped into entrepreneurship, and later into business consulting, and now business strategist. So it was not an even career, but however, what I would say is that. Uh, the chase for what suits me best is still going on, and I'm still trying to figure out uh, what is that one role that would actually makes me fulfilled, or I get that excitement to work on a daily basis. So the main purpose for me is that we work 8 hours a day, so we shouldn't be doing a boring work or the work that doesn't suit your personality, right? So that's why my career has been uneven, and the search is still going on.
Mhm. That's amazing. My first question to you would be, early in your career, you moved across different industries and even different roles. So you started from analytics and execution into strategy, growth, and leadership position now.
Yeah.
So for MBA students who are very scared of taking risk and often, choose the safe option, how would you suggest to evaluate when a career move is a smart move versus a reckless one? How would you differentiate between the two?
Okay. So with respect to giving that calculated risk, so what I would say is that anybody who's doing an MBA at the age of 21, 22, I don't think so. They should be looking at taking calculated risk. Like with the current ecosystem that we have in India, with startup and a lot of companies booming with AI, you just need a laptop, a good internet, and a mobile phone to start anything. Like back then when I had to build my profile, I had to take an internship with a company, I have to crack an interview, put it in my profile. But now that's not the case. You can build your own projects with AI, and you can showcase your talent. You can DM anybody on LinkedIn, and if you're lucky enough, you get an interview straight away. So I don't think so that the any MBA student should be taking calculated risk. It should be like just go on and just jump from anywhere, and you definitely land somewhere for sure. And that jump, right, that you do, that teaches you a lot of lessons, and that makes you a better person, personally, professionally, socially. So anybody with that age group, they should take end number of risk. They shouldn't think about, okay, this is going to be a safe move. If you're going to be safe, right, there's no differentiation between you and somebody else, right? And if you really wanted to make that move, yes, just go ahead and things will happen. It's not that you take a risk and it will not give you any fruits, but now the ecosystem is such that you take a risk and you definitely get the fruit, but you do not know when you get it. That's the only question, like, right? So probably that would be answered with time, and you get that maturity to understand also. But otherwise, if I still wanted to answer taking the calculated risk, it's about understanding. Let's say there is somebody who's doing MBA, and the entire family is dependent on that particular person taking up a job, and you know making that income to their family, right? And there is a number of families depending on that. They put the complete bet on their son and daughter, like, okay, he will go take up a job, and he'll be earning so much money, right? So in that case, I would say try to network with somebody on LinkedIn, have a good neat LinkedIn profile, and start showcasing that you're looking for a job. Soon you complete your MBA, like you can say, in 1 year I'm going to complete my MBA, because job search is not easy, and it takes months, days, and sometimes years. So have a good neat LinkedIn profile, check which companies would suit you, network with them, engage with them, like for like good 6 months to 1 year, and later see what kind of job suits you. Do a market research on what is the salary bracket you fall into, and you can take up a job, and you can still have a side hustle along with that. So this is one thing I would suggest. Having a good, neat, clean LinkedIn profile is a mandate.
That's such a, very fresh perspective to look at risk, especially for students who think risk means being very irresponsible with their career. So, when
Yeah,
you shared that, at such a age, you shouldn't be worried about risk taking, that adds so much value, because that is the age where you experiment and find out which is the right thing for you, because you don't have things figured out. So that is the age group where you figure things out for your own.
correct, correct, correct.
Brilliant way to put it that way. My next question would be, you work with large companies, large
Yeah,
organizations like Adobe and Yahoo as well, and also in fast moving startups where you help scale from zero to strong growth.
yeah.
I wanted to understand your mindset. What mindset or skill shifts are required when someone moves from a stable enterprise setup to an entire different environment, which is a startup environment?
Right. So for this, I would give an understanding between a ship and a motorboat. A ship, it's too large, and if you wanted to make a shift or like a change of direction, it takes a lot of time, right? And motorboat is not such. You just have to swirl, and it takes a shift, and you can change the direction. That's the difference between a large enterprises and a motorboat. So when you're in a large enterprises, right, they work on scale. Like any change that you make, it goes to impact in like 100K, 1 million, 10 million is kind of number they look at. It's not like 10,000 or 20,000 or 30,000, right? So when you're working in scale, you have to have a mindset of how this would impact across regions. That is, let's say there's different markets, right? Like APAC, there's EMEA, there is JPAC, and there is NAR market. So you have to think in scale. In startups, it's about what you want to execute the next day, not like next month or next week. Like in large enterprises, they have a roadmap for like next 12 months, right? Here, you do not have a roadmap. You do not know what is going to happen the next year, right? What are you going to execute the next day? Who is that client you're going to talk to tomorrow? Have you scheduled the meeting with them? Have you DM? Have you checked on WhatsApp if they're available or not? Or did you keep all the materials ready handy, right? It's like you're always on the toes, and it's about execution the next day. And here you have to execute like in scale. So you have to have a mindset of doing it scale. And there is a hierarchy in large enterprises. You have to follow that kind of rules they have. Like in companies like Yahoo and Adobe, there's nothing like rules like you have to follow this, but there is always a hierarchy system. Like there is a manager approval, there's a senior manager approval for any one change that you wanted to bring inside the company. But in startups, it's not like that. You just have to come up with an idea, you pitch it to the founder or the leadership team, they like it. It's like rolled out in the evening itself, right? So that's the difference. And other difference I would say is that if you have to learn something at the age of 21, 22, go to a startup. And MNCs are the place where you step in at the age of, I would say, after 30. So because, excuse me, I have a bad cold. Uh, so it's like, like from 21 to 30, 10 years you work in a startup, and you get that grid, and you get that, hands-on experiments with all kinds of roles, from an HR to operations to supply chain, right? And after that, with that experience, that's the kind of experience you require in the large enterprises to do it in scale, right? So with that, you get maturity in the 10 years, and later you can just settle in a MNC job with a good package. So go ahead, take risks at the startups, and even if you're getting paid less little, it's okay. Until the age of 30, you do not worry, and after that, with that skill, you definitely going to make a lot of money later.
Correct. The contrast is very clear, and you've put it into the right words, because many students, they romanticize working in a startup, or there's a separate group of students who fear them entirely, fear working in startups entirely. They want stability, they want name of the big brands in their CV and LinkedIn profiles. And this kind of clarity, which you just mentioned, really helps them decide based on reality. You should, focus more on skill set in your initial years in the corporate once you start working, and then settle up in a
Exactly.
big
Yes.
organizations, like you said. So it's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
clear distinction between the two.
Yes, 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 yes. I agree.
Uh, you worked with, you worked in multiple points at multiple roles, and you have taken very big jumps. You've owned go-to-market strategies, partnerships, and you've also, you have been a big part of revenue impact in your previous roles.
Yeah,
So for MDA students who want to take a leapfrog jump in their career, rather than move just step by step, getting 5-7% annual compensation hike every year, and also being on the same role with same set of responsibilities for 2-3 years straight in their career,
yeah.
what preparation is actually required, and what mindset is actually required before making big leapfrog jumps in the career?
Right. Uh, so like you told, it is definitely a mindset game, not from the point of view of skill set, because if you have the right mindset, you can definitely acquire the skill set that you want. I would say, like for an MBA student, uh, they should always think about what is the impact that they make in an organization. Like, if you are developing a product, what is the product actually impacting? Like, what is the problem they're solving, and what is the problem, uh, that's actually bringing in revenue to the company. And when you think at that level, right, like from the point of view of not the revenue impact but the actual impact in solving that particular pain point, let it be a large organization or a small startup. So if you start thinking right from day one, like, okay, this is the impact I'm creating. For example, let's say, uh, like an edtech, it is solving problems for anybody from remote villages can still access to top quality content. And they just need an internet and a laptop. And even the laptops are like, you still get it only at a very less price, and they're able to access top quality content, and that is a problem they're solving. And how are they trying to solve that problem, and why they're trying to solve that problem, and where they're trying to solve. If you start answering these questions, you automatically start connecting, like, what are the skill set I need to build here? Is it I need to understand the tech, or do I have to understand the consumer, or do I have to understand, what are the other tools that I can use to work on, to execute this particular problem, right?
Mhm.
So first think about the impact and what scale you're getting that impact, and later you can definitely jot down points, like, what are the tools you need. For example, I could give my own example.
Mhm.
I did have a startup on education. I do not have a education startup, for example, like an edtech experience, right? So I wanted to solve a problem like a 10th standard guy or a girl should get access to startup education, should get access to what's happening in the startup ecosystem, and they should get all the material at their classrooms. So this is a problem statement I wanted to solve. So after that, I started to analyze, like, what is that skill set I need. So what are the skills that I need? I need to come up with some uh, tech, like, for example, can I have a for example,
Mhm.
like, you should I put all my content on YouTube and
Correct.
give access to students, or should I make it very exclusive, like, have somebody in person coming in and teaching them,
Mhm.
or should I come up with a skill set like where I build my own platform and give them login credentials and you can access from anywhere. So and after that, I was like, okay, what would work for the institutions? So institutions were like, with COVID, students have become, they're glued to their screens. We want somebody coming in person and teaching this. Let's say I made this complete platform online. with all the tools and putting it lakhs of money, and I'm saying, here is the tool. You log
Mhm.
in, you get all startup content, and they're like, no, this won't work. We want somebody in person, right? It's
Mhm.
going to just go in veins. So
Mhm.
first think about the impact, then your skills and tools you'll be able to figure out.
Very, very practical advice. One very interesting question which we hear every now and then is shift to data and AI. Everything has now, it's revolving around data and decision making. And on the other hand, it's all about AI and automation. So with rapid changes in AI, automation, and new business models, which are completely dependent from their process to process, and they've built systems which are completely automated. Many students with 20, 21-year-old mindset, of course, they feel very overwhelmed and very hesitant to take bold career bets. And with respect to your career, when you look back, how was risk taking shaped in your career? And what advice would you give students who want to grow fast but are very afraid to make a wrong move?
I lost you for like 10 seconds. You told like uh, fast and can you repeat your question?
Correct. So, what advice would you give to students who want to grow fast, but they're also very afraid to make a wrong move in the very, technical environment that we live in?
Okay. Uh, so my answer is like, you shouldn't go fast, first thing. Second, you have to do mistakes. Uh, that's what I would say. Because only when you do so, because you mentioned that, how not to do wrong attempts, or like wrong,
Correct.
doing something wrong, right? That doesn't work when you have to do a career shift, like, a
Hmm.
massive career shift, because you would only learn when you fall, trial and error is the way to understand. But I would say the formula is fail fast.
Hmm.
Don't keep stuck to that one particular problem.
Mm-hmm.
You pick up something, if it is not working, if you say it's a failed attempt, don't keep
Mm-hmm.
holding on to that. Start quick and fail fast. That
Okay.
will help you to organize your career better, and that actually makes your career move faster.
Hmm.
Like this will to answer a question of how they wanted to move fast,
Hmm.
adapt fast, fail fast, and that's the way to go fast forward. And there's nothing called like wrong thing here, because this is for the students. They're going to start right, like 21, 22. And I mean, at any age, people can make mistakes. And, like there are like so many startups with experience of 20, 30 years. They have failed massively.
Yeah.
They know a lot of things, but they fail massively because nobody cannot predict what is the market, right? And nobody cannot know what it is. So it's okay to fail, but you just have to fail fast and come out of it. You shouldn't be stuck in that place. That's how you move faster.
That's such a grounding perspective. I'm really sure that a lot of students can relate to it because your advice is incredibly relevant to today's mindset. So, thank you so much. We've almost come towards the end of our interview. Thank you so much, Karthik, for taking our time, for sharing your journey. And it was also honest and with a lot of clarity. The entire insights and the examples you've mentioned around risk taking, growth, decision making, it's incredibly relevant to the new age mindset. So thank you so much for being so relevant and taking so much efforts to you're not in a proper health condition, you have a cold, and you still have made so much time for it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for this. Thanks for having. Because when you mentioned it is for students, right? And I do have a personal connect with students. I go to colleges. I talk to students about what you need to do, risk taking. So that drives me, and that's why I'm here now.
I'm sure, and I'm really sure, a lot of people, a lot of students who will watch this video will definitely get very, super grateful insights for their career, and they would definitely implement it for their own. So, thank you so
Yeah,
much again. Thank you so much for joining us.
yeah. Thanks, Shruti.